Joining us now is Mark Barden, the father of Sandy Hook victim Daniel Barden, and Nicole Hockley, the mother of Sandy Hook victim Dylan Hockley. Both are part of the organization Sandy Hook Promise. Thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, this has taken decades to finally get some gun reform legislation. I'll start with you, your reaction to it.
We are hopeful, we're optimistic. This is a start. We have been working on this for most of the last 10 years to try to get some modest gun safety initiatives through our federal government. And while this is certainly not everything that we are continuing to work for, this is a good start. And it's also important to recognize that this is coming together with bipartisan support, which I think sends an important message to this very divided nation.
And Nicole, your thoughts? A good start?
I think it's a very good start, and it's pleasing to see members of the Senate coming together to craft this in a way that will have some meaning in terms of saving lives while still protecting Second Amendment constitutional rights, because it's really important that both parts of that are within this package, and I think they've done a great job at pulling that together.
There are some people who are focused more on what it doesn't include, that it doesn't include the assault weapons ban, that it doesn't include a raise in the age rate that you can buy a gun. If there was one action that you would have hoped would have been included in the legislation, what would that have been for you?
For me personally, I would have liked to see the disparity between the ages taken care of, so 21 for everyone, but I recognize why for some states, especially hunting states, that's not an area that they're comfortable going to, but I think the enhanced background check for youth under the age of 21 is a positive step forward to ensure that if you can't get it as an adult, then you can't get it if you're 18 to 21 as well.
Mark, how about for you, if there were one action included?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I would like to have seen safe storage included in this. I think it's such an important part of this, and I understand that if you identify as a responsible gun owner that you are already doing that, but we have seen just countless, it happens all the time, where somebody who shouldn't have access to a firearm in the home, like a child, or somebody who is ideating self-harm, to have access to a firearm in the home. I think that should be the law of the land with real teeth to it to make sure that folks safely store their firearms.
And Nicole, earlier this year you wrote an op-ed, and I want to quote it here. You said, "The headlines have long faded, but the anguish will always stay with me. It is up there from when I wake up in the morning and kiss his urn to when I close my eyes at night, remembering his infectious laugh that always made me smile, a laugh that I'll never hear again." Is it possible for you to celebrate this occasion when it's come at such a cost to you personally?
That's a hard question for me to answer, but what I lean into is the fact that I can celebrate the fact that less parents are going to be in my position going forward. It's taken too long to get here. Thousands of people have died, tens of thousands of people have died along the way, but at least we're here, and that's going to save lives going forward and have some meaning.
Mark, how about for you?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can do to bring my little Daniel back, and I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life, but I made a vow, a promise, to honor him and to protect my surviving children, James and Natalie, and to protect as many other families as possible from having to endure this life of pain. And that is what we're doing with the work at Sandy Hook Promise and by helping to pass this legislation.
Even as the time goes by, I see the tears in your eyes. It doesn't get easier. People feel that, you know, the old adage that time heals all wounds, but not this one.
Never, never. The loss of Dylan is something that will stay as a gaping wound in my heart for all time. I'll always be missing him, and all I can do is keep moving forward to honor him and to honor my surviving son, Jake.
What's next for the Sandy Hook Promise?
We do a lot of, not only do we work in legislative areas, but we also work a lot in schools across the country. So we're going to continue to scale and expand our programs where we teach youth and empower them. How do you recognize the signs of someone who is in need of help and take action to get them help? Through that action alone, we've already averted 9 credible planned school shootings, hundreds of suicides, and created thousands of mental health interventions. So policy is needed, as is behavioral change, so we're focusing on both areas.
What do you all say to parents? I imagine that you hear this, that the parents who feel scared to send their children to school, and are there certain questions that you feel that parents should ask? about how the school is prepared and training the kids, and as far as the doors that lock and the location of...
Yeah, I think it's important that parents do question what are the safety standards and the practices that are followed within a school. And I also think things like active shooter drills, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that they actually can traumatize children, and how are they doing it in an appropriate way, in an age-appropriate way, or really just focused on the teachers and teaching them what to do and how to protect children in the event of an incident. So I do think it's important to ask those questions, but I also want to remind people that generally speaking, schools are one of the safest places to be in your community. The problem is, because we have created an infrastructure and systems that kids don't feel safe. So empower them with the way to provide solutions to help keep themselves safe, like knowing the signs, like talking to a trusted adult if you see something.
And Mark, you talked about keeping your other 2 kids safe. When you sent them back to school, what was that like for you?
You know, they did feel safe in school. James and Natalie going back to school after the trauma of losing their brother Daniel, they did feel safe going back to school, which was wonderful for us to be able to do that. But, you know, just to build on Nicole's point, we have a model that works, and I just want to see what we can do across the country and bring. It's really a cultural situation, and instead of adapting to this feeling of the active shooter as an inevitable situation, to get in front of that and over time to train students in our Knowing the Science programs to where we get to a place where we don't have to be waiting for and planning for the inevitable school shooting, and that we can bring our culture to a place where that's not a thing anymore. And I know it's possible.
I thank you both so much for your time. Nicole, I remember when we first met, my son was just about to start kindergarten. I was telling you that he was in the first classroom in the building, and you said that that's where your son was, and that's something that has stayed with me for several years. I think that for anyone who's a parent, and you don't even really have to, a lot of people can, our hearts certainly go out to both of you, and we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you talking with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.